Okay, so welcome to my home and welcome on Zoom. Those of you that are, we have a lot of people on Zoom. Not yet. And my trusty assistant Pinky's not here, so I'm assuming she'll be here any moment. Where do I begin? I just came back from Israel. So I have one of my favorite kosher cookbooks is by a cookbook author. She actually has a series of 9 books. Her name is Susie Fishbein. Susie does amazing cookbooks. They're all kosher by design. So there's Kosher by Design is the original, and then it's Kosher by Design Entertains, and she's got a beautiful series of books. She also does culinary tours, and she goes to Florence, Milan, Lake Como, and Israel. And 2 years ago, my husband and I both went and did a culinary trip with her in Israel, and she had one scheduled again in September. And I did that as well. And that trip was basically, it was a culinary mission rather than a culinary trip, because everything that we did incorporated something that had to do with October the 7th. And so we met a lot of people. It was really an extraordinary time. We went to a pizza shop. Just to give you an idea of the things that we did. We went to a pizza shop and we made 30 pizzas and took them to one of the army bases. We made focaccia, and we made 50 focaccia and took them to a spot where the soldiers, even before October 7th, this has been going on for years, in Gush Etzion, there's a spot that soldiers can stop in for a cup of coffee if they need any personal items, deodorant or t-shirts or socks or whatever. People donate. It's all volunteer run. And so we went there and we had gone to a bakery and baked 50 focaccias, and we brought them there. One of the soldiers that spoke to us, he was a commander for the reserves, and he had his accent was minimal, spoke English really well, and it turns out his wife is from Scottsdale, Arizona. So and his aunt is Mercedes, his wife's aunt. So we know his family. It's just, wherever you go, it's a small world. Anyway, we visited a farm. We went to the Gaza envelope for a few days. We visited a farm by the Gaza envelope and called the Salad Trail. And his farm was destroyed by the terrorists. And he and his wife lived on the farm. Thank God they were safe. His son and daughter-in-law and their 5 children live in a kibbutz called Kfar Aza, and it was one of the worst hit by the Palestinians, and they survived and they were fine. However, his wife's sister and her husband were not so lucky. His wife's sister is Hadar, which is this recipe that you have on the top, and Hadar made this maple cake that people just loved. And every time she went to somebody's house, and we were told this story, every time she went to somebody's house, every time somebody came to her house, everybody just wanted this maple cake. Hadar and her husband were in their safe room, and the safe rooms in Israel are for bombs and not for guns. And so they don't have locks on doors. And Hadar and her husband had 10-month-old twin boys, and they knew that the terrorists were in their house. They hid the boys, and they were both murdered. 13 hours later, the IDF found the babies, and so alive and fine. And so her sister and brother-in-law now, instead of, they had 5 children, they now have 7. Anyway, I wanted to bake this cake. I'm gonna, do you mind doing this? Because I thought, you call Pinky. Yeah, if you don't mind, I don't know. Oh, there she is. Okay. You got lost? Oh my God. Okay. No, there's 4 recipes. Okay. So they're broken up. Hi, I do need some help. Thank you. Sorry. So anyway, I wanted to bake this cake for you, just so that in honor of Hadar, in her memory, we heard unbelievable stories of survival and unbelievable stories of loss. It was a remarkable, remarkable trip. And I just wanted you to have a little taste of, it's very sweet. You have the recipe. It's an easy, easy cake to make. But would you mind just giving everybody a piece of cake?
I would be.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So now we can get started.
So is this one of the recipes?
Yes, that's the top recipe. The next recipe we're going to do, because I decided last minute I had 3 very, very ripe bananas. So yes.
About this recipe,
Yes,
because it just says 1 sour cream. Yeah.
cup,
Oh,
cup,
I'm so sorry.
yes.
Can you make it non-dairy with this cake rather than just use sour cream? Is that anything to
You know what? I can't answer that question because I think, the recipe is the recipe. The sour cream gives it a richness that yogurt might not. And so you can substitute and see.
But I just talked, I just meant non-dairy, to make it non-dairy.
To make it non-dairy. Yeah, I would use a fake sour cream, but always remember that the fat is what gives a cake its moistness and its richness and its delicious taste. So there's forks and stuff behind you. Anyway, so I decided that I was gonna make this next recipe, which is the banana date pecan cake. So Rabbi, it's a dairy cake, but the sour cream's not halal Israel. So just so you know. Okay, so I've weighed everything out for you. This is a really, really delicious cake. It's moist, it's easy to do. The recipe, now I will tell you that the recipe doesn't have the temperature. Cook it at 350 for 25 minutes. It says it within, it tells you where to, how much to do, but the amount of time. 25 or until done. Do you need a pen?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I need another one.
You need a pen?
What did you just say about the temperature?
350
For how long?
for 25 minutes or until done. Do you mind handing that back? Thank you. Oh, absolutely. So I wanted you to have something to do while I'm working. Okay.
One question. about
Yes.
this. It says 3 spoons vanilla sugar.
Yes, 3 tablespoons. 3 tablespoons of vanilla sugar. Vanilla sugar?
Yeah.
Do you know?
No.
No. What is that? Never heard of it.
Yeah, where is it? Oh my gosh, I just had it.
Is it out for another recipe?
No. You never heard of vanilla sugar? Oh, here it is.
Oh my gosh.
I've never.
Where do you get that?
At the coast, I got this at Imperial.
What is it?
No.
Vanilla sugar.
It's like a
Oh.
frosty.
It's vanilla flavored sugar.
Oh,
Vanilla flavored sugar.
Oh.
You can smell it. Smell the vanilla in it.
No, it's not.
Would anybody like a napkin? Ladies, anybody like a napkin?
So that's vanilla sugar. Here, I'll take that
That's
back.
pretty
Do
nifty.
you want to see it?
no, thank you.
Vanilla sugar. You might be able to, I went to Safeway and Fry's, forget.
Okay.
But I didn't go to Fry's at Tatum and Shea. I went to Fry's at 20th Street in Highland.
It says Penzies also.
Oh, they do vanilla sugar
So your screen will be like till here.
Thank you.
So you're.
till here, so I'm good.
Here, go slow.
Okay. Okay. So
Oh, my friend wants to treat.
oh, you know what? I think everybody's here. I could let them out of that room. Pardon? Will you open the door? Yeah, and let them out. Thank you. Because then they'll settle down.
Delicious.
Delicious? Okay, good. The cake is very, very sweet. It's very, very rich. The pan, oh, you could, will you leave that door open? No, that door that you, it's open. Yeah, please. Okay, we ready? We're ready. Okay, the ingredients, I've weighed out everything just to make it a little quicker. It'll bake while we're doing the other recipes. So we're going to start out with 2 eggs. And you know why we break separate into a glass? For what? Oh, no, no, no. But thank you. No, they just had. Yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Okay, so
Why do you separate them?
because of the blood, because for kosher issues, because if there's blood in an egg, you can't use it. And so your egg and your sugar, it's a 1/2 cup of sugar. We're making a banana, date, and pecan cake. That's the second recipe. And we'll just get that going. You know what? I normally use a mixer, but it's a lot of extra cleaning up, and I'm so not an extra cleaning up person. So we got that. We're going to put in the canola oil. You can use vegetable oil. I usually wear one, but
These are beautiful cuts.
oh, I didn't wear it.
Cuts of many cups.
I know. And ha 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 ha. Gonna put in the flour a little bit at a time. I don't sift flour. So even if the recipe says to sift it, I never sift flour. It's just a thing. I don't think it's necessary. But what I do, and I'll tell you because you're all new, so I have all my tricks that everybody already knew about. When I weigh out flour, I shake up the container first, because when you shake it up, it adds air and it breaks up any clumps. And what you want is when you weigh it out, you don't want to use, I'll use a little cup. You don't want to use a knife. You don't want to level it off. You just want to put it in there and kind of shake it down and to get your measurement. The lighter it is, the lighter your product will turn out, either your cake or your bread. But always, always, always aerate your flour. It's a better consistency in whatever it is you're cooking. You're welcome.
It says 8 little pans. Could you use 2 big pans?
I'm using 1 pan.
Are you using one to do it?
Yep.
That other cake is unbelievable.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah, in Hadar's memory. Pardon?
It's so simple. How do you get your oven to 180 degrees?
Well, no, 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 that's Celsius. That temperature is Celsius. You have to, it's 355, I think 355 or 360
Okay.
Fahrenheit, but that's a Celsius. So understand that a lot of that recipe had already been converted for you, except for the weight, except for the temperature.
350.
Yep. So now I'm going to put in baking powder, baking soda, nutmeg, and cinnamon. And this also is a very, very easy cake to do. Now, the recipe will also call for you to kind of make a ganache with a chocolate drizzle on top. I'm not doing that today, but you can certainly do that. This does have chocolate chips in it. So Okay. And it's a nice thick batter, as you can see. Let's get that going. I know, right? Really nice and thick. Really nice and thick. We're going to put in the dates. We went to a date farm when we were in Israel. It was an amazing operation. Also right by the Gaza envelope. All of the employees were Palestinian. And it was very, very interesting being there with, and it's run by a husband and a wife. And all of their employees are Palestinian. And they said, you know, with what has been going on there, they kind of don't turn their back. It's amazing. They have an amazing operation. They ship their dates all over the world. It's just a phenomenal. So I'm going to slice up the banana, put in the chocolate chips, put in the chopped pecans. Yep. Cut up the dates, put in the dates.
Yeah.
And you have a really, really nice batter. Now it says 25 minutes to bake. That's kind of based on, you know, wherever you cook, wherever you bake, more so than cooking, wherever you bake, temperatures vary because of the humidity and the temperature in the air. And you would not think that it would affect inside of your oven, but it affects inside of your oven because it affects all your product. The air affects the flour, it affects everything you put in. So don't take it out after 25 minutes. Do the toothpick test. So we're going to get this into the oven. So my trick also for
What degree are you gonna bake it at?
350. No, I had said you were probably giving out the cake. 350. So here's what I do when I have to spray this Pam gets all over everything. I put it inside of my dishwasher. And I spray in the dishwasher because then it all gets clean. And I don't have, and that because I always could feel the sticky. So there you go. Great tip, right? Put it in the dishwasher because your dishwasher is going to get real clean.
Who taught you that?
I don't know. I figured it out on myself. I figured it. There's some things I figure out on my own. It's amazing.
But you can also do that in the sink, right?
You could do it in the sink, but you still have to get, it's still greasy and you really need like Dawn or some kind of soap.
She figured it out for herself.
I figured it out for myself. Yes, I'm quite industrious. Ah. So there you go. Right, it's my baking tips. You know, life has to be easy.
Yes, it does.
You can't wash that pan in the dishwasher. You do it, it'll turn.
Oh, I wouldn't wash it. I have buy disposables just for the word for disposal. Yes,
I use them too.
yes.
You use what? I use them over and over, a lot of these pans. Those pans.
Okay.
Throw them away.
Okay.
That's a big thing.
Can you? Oh, and you can all see. Yes. Oh, excellent.
That's a very big
pan.
Yeah, one.
One.
There we go. So I'm going to put this in the oven for. We'll start at 25 minutes. Okay. All right. That was recipe number 1. And then you'll be able to Hopefully.
Pan was that, the one you just used?
What?
Size
I,
of that pan, that looked bigger than, it's
it's not a,
not like a normal.
I'll tell you in a sec. I'll tell you in a second. So the reason why I bought that pan, because I usually use a regular size or a larger size loaf pan, but this cake was made, if you look at the photo, it's in a long, narrow pan that I believe is really kind of only sold in Israel. And I looked for them here. A couple of ladies on my trip bought them in Israel, but I knew that I would never get it home without smashing them. And so-
The dough went into the two, this dough. went
No,
into
no,
two-
this
dough went into the two.
I
of them.
can't answer that
So
question.
you're gonna eat it.
Yeah, I don't know. So this is, what is it? It's 9.5 by 4.5. And I got these at the kosher butcher on 7th Street because it looked like it would work. Canyon, okay.
It's a new store, like in the last.
Canyon Glot, yep. Across from La Bella,
Maryland, right next to the Shell Gap.
Maryland. Pardon? Right across the street from La Bella in a tacky building. It's Canyon Glot Kosher.
Story building.
Canyon Glot Kosher.
And you'll have to make your own decision if you like it or not.
And you walk up the stairs to the.
No,
No, it's on the bottom. Yeah, it's on the bottom.
Meaning we don't endorse any company. Yeah.
They're kosher. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
With the self-rising flour, if you don't have self-rising flour, if you.
I don't know, because this is a recipe that, and you're talking about the maple cake,
Right.
is self-rising flour. Because if you notice, there's no baking powder or baking soda in it, so something has to rise. That's why it's self-rising flour. What you would substitute, I couldn't answer that question. Yeah. Okay, next. Next is the, uh-huh. What did I do with it? Oh, here we go. It's I cooked with frika one time. Frika is a wheat. It's a Middle Eastern wheat.
And we checked. I think we checked. It doesn't get-
Right, it doesn't, but it doesn't have to, exactly. So this is,
It's the raw free.
it's the raw frika.
It's a kind of rock.
It's wheat.
That's the wheat.
Yep, you can pass it around.
And where did you get the dashes?
No, Baez Market. See, they're all commercials that we don't intend. Baez Market is, I can't answer that question. I buy it at the market, Baez Market.
Buy it, not buy it.
Baiz.
I know, I go there.
Okay,
27 South.
right, I go to the one at 20th Street in Roosevelt.
Oh, I go on 27 South.
Okay, that's where I got it. Yes. 20th Street in Roosevelt. 20th Street south of Roosevelt.
Yeah, they have so much stuff there.
And where's the other one?
27th Avenue and Northern.
That one is more.
I know, isn't this professional? Aren't you impressed?
Like so impressed.
Oh, it's so funny. Okay, there we go. So this is frika. So, you know what? It's always nice
You can
to,
buy it online. Exactly.
you can buy it online.
You can buy it on Amazon.
I have to get stuff for people that
On Amazon, it is $14.99 for that.
Oh, no, no,
Oh.
no.
16 ounce. That's 16 ounce.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. No, that wouldn't be that much. I would
I said on Amazon.
never have spent that much. Not that you're not all worth it.
There are other ones though that are. So I'm just saying that. But that specific one, $14.99.
Wow, that's crazy.
Do you like our $9.99?
So the next, so tabbouleh is really just a very popular, wonderful, and these two salads I'm doing with you are for in anticipation of Sukkot, because there are so many. I was going to do something for Rosh Hashanah, but there's so many, and there's, you know, I think salads are nice and easy. They're great side dishes for when you make a dinner. They can be dinner because it's got your, you know, wheat in it. It's got some fruit in it. It's got some vegetables in it. So I decided to do a couple of salads. So I made the frika ahead of time because it takes a little bit, and I wanted to make sure it was done.
You boil it?
I boil it in vegetable broth on your
Yeah, I'm not
recipe.
vegan.
Oh, okay, yeah, I boil it in vegetable broth. To keep it parve, I use vegetable broth. So that way, when you have your leftovers, you can serve it with anything. You can make it with chicken broth. It'll give it a little bit more depth of flavor. But then you're limited as to what you can serve it with. And that's, you know, you're keeping kosher or even kosher style. So in this bowl, what I've done is use the food processor just to get it going. There's mint, 2 types of parsley, flat leaf, and the curly parsley, mint, and a jalapeno and some scallions. So, and it tells you in your recipe to either cut it up if you want to, you know, do the cutting yourself, or use a food processor. I'm gonna kind of separate, almost as like kasha, almost like kasha. So we're going to put the, no, it has a very, when I mix it together, you can taste it. I think it has a delicious, unique flavor. It's very, very different.
Maybe like taste like quinoa.
Yeah, it has a very distinctive flavor, which gives this recipe such a nice touch, because tabbouleh is really, it's mostly the parsley and the dressing that you put on it, but here you're getting so much flavor from the frika itself. And can you smell it? And I made a frika pilaf from my last trip to Israel. So I made that. Yes, I know, I did. Oh, it smells delicious. You can smell the mint, you can smell the fresh herbs. It's really, really lovely. So sumac. Yeah, sumac is one of the spices. Sumac. Sumac has a sour, lemony flavor. It's really nice.
And what's Ceylon? That's another one.
Ceylon is date syrup.
No.
I did, and all these little hints, all these little tips are in your recipe. So I did soak the tomatoes and the cucumber in salted water. So I'm just gonna,
And you did that
because it keeps them fresh, it adds life to it, it keeps the color fresh, and you can make them when you need to and not when you have to, so that they've been, you know, they sit in the water, that all of the extra liquid that is in tomatoes and cucumber gets drawn out, so that it keeps your salad nice and fresh.
How much salt do you add to the?
It says a half a teaspoon.
Oh, you already.
Yep, it's already in your recipe.
I must be kidding. Beefsteak tomatoes. The only place you get those are on the East Coast. The tomatoes here are the worst.
Well, I got them. Where did I get them? I think Fry's. Mm-mm, no.
Oh, yeah.
Arlene, grow your own.
I miss these. You'll get it from the site, but I've seen it.
I got mine probably at Fry's.
So what is it?
It's a big tomato. It's a big tomato.
Here.
You like it, they're great.
This is a beefsteak.
They're
Oh, I see
very
those.
Yeah, they're nice big fat
Really
ones.
juicy.
big.
Yeah, very.
No, that's your son.
So you do what's the red on
Very colorful and very, very delicious.
I love those. Those are my favorite
You think that would make a difference? That'd be pretty fun.
So in the dressing, I'm going to put, so I have already Ceylon and I believe the olive oil is in there. Yeah, I think the olive oil is in there. I might have to add some more. Actually, I need to put in some half a cup of olive oil.
Excuse me, the liquid that the cucumber and tomatoes, did that also, did you put them in?
No, I put it in water, but the salt brings it out. Yeah. I put it in water, but the salt does bring it out. So we're going to have a half a cup of olive oil. I have Ceylon in there. I have, it says 1 minced garlic clove. I use 2 because you can. Because the one thing, if you read a recipe and there's something in there that you don't like, use less or leave it out. There's something in there that you want to substitute, do that. There's a thickness to this dressing because of the date syrup. Date syrup is really, I have a jar of it, I would show it to you, but the label's off, so you can, I'll show you the lid. But we'll do that. So let's see. 2 tablespoons of sumac. And as I said, sumac has a nice sour taste. It's again, a really unique taste. So 2 tablespoons of sumac.
Now this says 2 teaspoons.
It said 2 teaspoons? Oh, it says 2 teaspoons. 2 tablespoons will be fine. And a teaspoon of sugar. It'll be a little more sour, but that's fine.
The extra garlic. we should-
With the extra, oh, that's right, it'll cut off, and a teaspoon of sugar.
She'll put in a little dab of sugar. Not a dab.
Teaspoon of sugar, and here was this. And also, I never measure lemon juice. You kind of get an idea. Like a lemon, usually a half a lemon is is a tablespoon. Maybe you will get a couple tablespoons out of a lemon. Not a lot. So let's see, and this calls for a 1/4 cup. It says 3 to 4.
Very juicy.
Very juicy. And I might use a little less only because of the amount of sumac. So we'll give it a taste. And fresh pomegranate seeds, if you can, do it yourself rather than buy the ones that are already in the market, because by the time especially at Trader Joe's, by the time you get home, they're all slimy and
Yeah.
that's delicious. Slimy and gross.
How do you clean your fresh pomegranate? How do you just see it?
You know what? I just cut it in half and I wear gloves and cut it in half.
I wore
and
a
just-
white platform.
No, don't do that. And then always the best utensil is your hands. So I'm gonna. It's a beautiful salad. And we're gonna sprinkle some sea salt on. Let me open this when it's all mixed. Why are these things so hard to open? There we go. pour this in. And it mixes much better with your hands. And because you've taken most of the liquid out of your cucumber and tomatoes, this salad will last. You can always put some, if you wanted to make it a meal, you could put feta cheese in. You could put some avocado in.
Artichoke hearts.
Artichoke hearts, hearts of palm. Yeah, whatever. Serve it with pita bread, pita chips. There we go. So there's salad number one. My trusty assistant, Pinky, will,
Hold on to your.
there's bowls on the table here that you can use too. Oh, okay. Okay. That's salad number one.
Hold on to your forks unless you'd like a spoon.
Oh, actually, let me sprinkle a little sea salt on top.
Lovely.
Lovely.
Lovely. Bon appetit, everybody.
Yep.
Anybody needs a spoon rather than a fork, let me know.
Ah, well, you know, if
You know,
we're
you're at
if we're
Costco now.
if we're cooking, you have to eat it,
That's true.
right?
Costco.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
Hello.
Ha ha.
That was waiting.
Yeah. This is so delicious. I never
Ha 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 ha.
so good.
And these recipes, the cake and the two salads are recipes from Susie Fishbein. So we made these while we were in Israel.
Okay, yeah, we'll give it to. Any more? Yeah. You, nothing to. What's your name? Hi, Brenda.
One more here and the two of us.
You like it? And it's so different, and it makes such a nice side dish. It's interesting. Oh, it's green.
I try.
Oh, I forgot about you and green.
You don't eat green?
Not so much.
Why?
Not my favorite.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's delicious.
So funny.
Very good.
So the next salad.
Salmon and dates and chicken.
So I didn't make the salmon for you, but I have to say that when when I was in Israel, Susie had us. She lives in Livingston, New Jersey. She also has an apartment in Jerusalem, and so she did take us. We did go to her apartment, and she made an amazing spread for us. She demonstrated, and then we ate. And she did this, and she boiled salmon. And so your recipe says Ceylon glazed salmon. I'm not doing the salmon component. I'm only doing the chickpea salad component, and it's really, really delicious. And we'll have to try to like pick out the green for Patty. So
Did she have was the salmon a whole salmon?
No.
side?
no, just like you said,
Broken up into the salad.
no,
Oh, I don't see the picture. Oh,
Yes.
pieces of salmon.
yeah,
Okay.
salmon on top.
It's not on my picture.
No, it's not.
It's a lot of questions.
Yes. So here we go. This is a delicious, delicious salad. First thing, let's talk about what I did here. So the onions, if you want to take the bitterness, a lot of people have issue, and I doubled this recipe. So if it looks like a lot, it's a lot because I doubled the recipe. It's not a huge recipe. It'll feed maybe 4 or 6 people, but I knew we were having more. And if we have leftovers, my husband has dinner tonight. So, so I doubled the recipe. When you use onions, any onions, red onions, white onions, yellow onions, when you use onions and it calls for it raw, a lot of people will leave it out because there's a bitterness and there's a bite to onions. If you want to get rid of it, soak your onions in ice water. It keeps them fresh and it takes all the bitterness away. Another tip. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
We're not just, you know,
Pretty face.
we're not just pretty faces. So, and then break it up. And you can smell it when you spill out the water, that the water kind of, there we go. We'll get all the water out. Yeah. Okay. And this again is such a simple thing to put together. So we have, it tells you about the salmon, and then we're going to put the chickpeas and just throw everything together. The chickpeas, these are 2 cans of, yep, straight out of the can, rinsed and drained. They come, I forget the liquid that chickpeas are in. A lot of vegans use that as a thickener for things, the liquid, and it has a name and I don't remember. Thank you so much, aquafaba.
I knew you would.
Absolutely.
Aqua is water, fava is bean, so water is a bean.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. So we've got the chickpeas. We have the onions. We're just going to really basically throw everything in there together. And then at the end, do orange zest and orange juice on top. And it's really, really lovely. Some chopped parsley. I used curly parsley for this one. Sorry, Pat, for the green. Some diced celery. So got to be a little healthy. Some mint, a little bit of mint. Give it that nice. And so everything that, you know, these recipes are more Israeli / Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, because that's where we were. And so that's what the purpose of the recipes were. Radishes, you can use elephant radish, which is always really, really pretty. I would slice those because they look so beautiful. I don't know if you're familiar with elephant radish, but there are, and I think there's also watermelon radish, the watermelon radish, and they're really pretty. I couldn't find them. Radishes were not easy to find, which is a crazy thing. Really, it's crazy. And of course, dates.
Oh, the dates, I never put them on.
No, I buy the organic dates, pitted dates at Trader Joe's, although, because they're the only kosher ones. But when we were at the date farm, it was never buy already pitted dates. So, because the processing does something to the dates. And, but I think it's just so much easier. Let me get a.
Not that I need them. Why wouldn't any date be kosher? It's like just.
Ask the rabbi.
Or,
Ask the rabbi because of how they're processed.
What was the question?
why aren't all dates kosher? It's like rum, you know.
Dates that are raw are all kosher.
Dates that are raw are all kosher, but these are processed. They're pitted, but some dates have a hechsher and some don't.
So the question is if dates need action.
Yes, because Trader Joe's has pitted dates with pits that don't have a hechsher, and they have.
Do they add like a sugar to it?
I have no idea because I've never bought them because I only buy the one with a hechsher. So then the last, we're going to put some pepper, a little bit of pepper. To taste, you know, when they tell you about salt and pepper, do it to taste. If you like, Oh, quiet.
You want something from me?
What got them excited? What got you excited? I'm gonna use the sea salt. Yeah. And I'm gonna use some of the sea salt. It's not quite as salty. Let's see how. Of course. Well, no, they'll be fine. I know, he has a mean mother. I would give this cake another 10 minutes. It's not quite done. Okay, so the cake said 25. I'm going to give it another 10 minutes. We've got the salt, put in some salt and pepper. I'm going to pour over the olive oil. It calls for a quarter. This is a half because I doubled the recipe, if you remember. And then for grating, for doing zesting, it's like the easiest, best thing in the world. Again, with zest, if you want to use your own judgment as to how much flavor you want. I think it adds a beautiful brightness. So I'm going to probably just zest this whole orange.
Well, I always get confused about recipes that say zest the orange because they're sprayed with pesticides.
Uh-huh.
So are you supposed to,
I just
like,
washed it off.
wash them first?
Yeah, absolutely. I would, yeah, absolutely. I just washed it off.
Everything that I just buy from store, onion, everything. I
I
wash
wash
it
it
first
every
and
day.
then I have.
Yeah, you wash the soap? No, just water?
Just water.
Oh, I use dish soap.
Yeah, just rinse it well. Peel it. I don't handle anything coming from the store, I just.
You were eating the peel, that's why I was asking.
Oh,
Izzy does? That's hilarious. He's looking to see what's,
He wants to go for dinner.
he wants to know what's for dinner. That's very funny. Oh, that's so funny. So I zested a whole orange and probably going to use the juice of a whole orange as well.
Juanita, I have a question to ask you.
Uh-huh.
For making this salad and the other one that was very good and delicious. If I just add a little bit of cilantro.
It's up to you.
Do you think would be okay with
And
it?
it'd be delicious.
It depends on your
There's
taste.
very little juice in here. I'm probably going to use the other one. That depends on your, oh, I do that all the time. You know what? Someone that was on my trip had said that, because we all still communicate on, I just came home a week ago, but we're communicating on WhatsApp. And so she said she made this salad, but she ordered all her, she lives in New York City, so they order their ingredients Instacart. And she said that they sent her 2 bunches of cilantro instead of, so it was cilantro and parsley that she did. And it was just her husband who hates cilantro, but everybody else loved it. So yes, yeah. Did I mess it up?
No, not at all. I just adjusted it.
Okay, and again, this is a beautiful salad. It's easy to make. It'll live in your refrigerator for a while. Doesn't it smell delicious? It's the freshness of the oranges that is just lovely. And so, you know, eating it right away, you feel the, you taste the crispness and the freshness of your ingredients. Also with this, feel free, add some cheese to it, feta cheese if you want to do that. You know, it's, you can change this recipe once you have the basic, the dressing, if you like the dressing. And once you have the basics of what goes in there, you can always add in there. You can put nuts in here if you like pine nuts, or you know, roast some walnuts or roast some pecans. It just depends on your taste. Pistachios would lend itself really, really well. And so here we go, my trusty assistant.
Oh, it looks yummy.
And so that's a double recipe, just so that you know, so that you can judge.
Is he watching?
Yes.
You got a great dinner.
He's had that salad before and loved it.
I don't know about the protein.
Yep, yep, yep. Let's see how this cake is going.
So the last thing that you need is what?
Chickpea and date salad. So, and the recipe that you have has it with salmon. That's a serving suggestion. Yeah. Yeah. And that makes a lovely dinner because the chickpeas take the place of a carb.
Yeah.
And a side dish. So it's sitting on everything that you would use as a side dish, the sweetness of the dates. It's just really lovely. And the cake is, I think it's done. No, that's the cake that I made at the beginning, and yes.
That's this.
Mm-mm.
Oh, this one you didn't demonstrate.
Right.
Gotcha, I wasn't sure what I was.
Yep. And this one is completely parved, so.
Nancy, you're gonna have some.
No, I didn't. No, thank you.
No, thank you for that.
Where you at?
Thank you.
So now what you would do, this is the banana pecan date cake. It's really delicious. You can,
Nice. Good.
you can use the recipe. It says that, you know, heat some heavy cream, mix it with some chopped chocolate, and you've got yourself a ganache to drizzle on top. And it really makes it delicious. However, it's almost kind of overkill because there is chocolate chips inside. So we're gonna let this cool down for a little bit before we cut it. So that
Only a quarter of a cup of chocolate chips.
you have to expand. You have to use your imagination and do a little more. No, I'm gonna put everything in the dishwasher, but thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Everything goes in the dishwasher. Yes, so there we are. I'm happy to answer any questions. Do you like the chickpea salad? It's delicious. They're great, great. Yes.
I want to tell you something. I don't like mint, but the salad that you served us, I didn't really detect mint. Taste it, just the right amount, just right.
Yep. Yep. She's great. Have you tasted everything?
I'm coming to taste.
Please do. Yeah.
What do you think? I'm going to just stand here?
No.
But this is a meal with the chickpeas.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's a meal in itself, and then it's really, and it's nice. It's to cook because you put out salads, and that's really, you know, not doing a lot of cooking to have a good, substantial, and delicious and beautiful meal.